I have seen the International Court of Justice has started investigations into the recent elections that were conducted in our country, Tanzania. I'm more than willing to assist them in investigations to find out what really happened.
So the first thing that would have done would be to say, yes, you have an election, perhaps we cannot take it back, but engage the opposition. Release everybody who is in detention. Because governance sometimes requires forgiveness. Release all of them. Enter into negotiations with them. Begin the process of constitution review so that Tanzanians have a conversation. Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere said it many years ago, that the moment you stop listening to the people, that is the moment you expose yourself to danger. The moment you dismiss your population as nincompoops who have nothing to offer, that is the moment you begin to lose it. The moment you begin to believe that you have a monopoly of knowledge and wisdom and that you cannot be advised, that is the moment you begin to lose.
Tumeanza kuona mtiririko au mwenendo wa wanaharakati ndani ya region yetu hii kuanza kuvamia na kuingilia mambo yetu huku. Sasa kama kwao wameshadhibitiwa, wasije kutuharibia huku.
Finally, Samia Suluhu has responded to the European Parliament and the European Union after that body moved to block billions in development loans and funding from reaching Tanzania and being handed to the government of Samia Suluhu. Through Foreign Affairs Minister Kombo, the government, on behalf of President Samia Suluhu, has replied to the European Union following the decision to block funds over alleged ongoing repression of opposition parties in Tanzania, killings, abductions, and the use of force against demonstrators. The political and diplomatic environment in Tanzania has entered a new stage after the European Parliament earlier yesterday passed a resolution recommending the immediate suspension of development funding to Tanzania, citing concerns about what it described as a deterioration of the political environment and serious human rights violations after the October 2025 general election. That resolution to withhold those billions in loans to the government of Samia Suluhu is one of the strongest positions the European Union has taken against Tanzania and the Samia Suluhu government in more than 2 decades of cooperation. For more than 20 years, Tanzania and the EU have enjoyed close ties, with funds sent every year for development assistance, concessional loans, social and economic reform programs, and commercial partnerships worth billions. According to earlier financial plans, the EU had committed more than 150 million euros, roughly 400 billion Tanzanian shillings, to support Tanzania's development projects in 2026. However, Tanzania, or the Samia government, has now issued its response after Europe blocked those funds as part of addressing the grievances being raised in Brussels. Foreign Minister Mahmoud Thabit Kombo said the government is closely following those discussions through Tanzania's ambassador in Belgium. Eustace Nyamanga was invited to attend that meeting and said that Tanzania will not face any problems if the funds are suspended. In the government's reply through Minister Kombo, he sought to calm the nation by reducing the shock that might arise from the suspension. He told citizens that Tanzania will not experience any economic collapse because it runs on its national budget with various sources of revenue. He urged Tanzanians to check the actual amount of funds expected and compare it to the roughly 56 trillion Tanzanian shillings national budget for the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year, and reassured the public that the funds blocked in Europe are not Tanzania's only source of money. "Listen to me," he said. "We Tanzanians will not die for lack of those funds," said Minister Kombo, expressing the government's confidence in its economic resilience. But beyond the minister's replies, all eyes turned to President Samia Suluhu Hassan, whose stance would determine the future direction of relations between the country and the EU. In her first address since the resolution, President Samia Suluhu Hassan spoke in measured but firm tones, saying her government remains committed to defending Tanzania's sovereignty while continuing dialogue with international partners. She insisted Tanzania will not be intimidated into foreign positions that conflict with national interests. That is the government's response today. President Samia Suluhu also said her administration will engage the EU through diplomatic channels to understand the full basis of their concerns. She stressed that Tanzania's political and security situation remains calm and warned against what she called distorted foreign interpretations of internal matters. However, Minister Kombo also said that the funds that have been blocked are not the only way for Tanzania to obtain financing. The remarks by Samia Suluhu and Minister Kombo appeared aimed at calming domestic anxieties while signaling readiness to prepare for a diplomatic confrontation if necessary.
And now finally Samia Suluhu has responded to EU about all their demands because they need justice. They need Samia to go and face the charges against all that she committed in his country, in her country, by taking lives of many people. Now this is the first lady to go and face ICC after the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, and his deputy Dr. William Ruto. And now today, let me tell you something. We know that EU today has sanctioned the country of Tanzania. This is something that we have been talking about because for a long time, Africans have been taking this seriously. That we need to be sanctioned because we being attached by these people, these Europeans or these the people from the West, does not bring any impact, does not bring any solution in Africa, because they are coming there. We are intact. We are together. We are looking like we are doing business, but when in real sense, in fact, we are not doing anything. There is nothing good that's ongoing here, because at the long term, for a long time, they have been here. They have been supporting. They are the one who have been supporting terrorists here, terrorism in Africa. They are the one who have been funding the crisis and causing chaos in Africa, so that they can only benefit from Africa. They can only access to African richness, because when we fight, we make our countries not to be in peace. They benefit from it. But again, today is something different, because today when we speak about this, it's a different perspectives. We speak in different perspective, because all that has happened in this country, it is not something that I believe that anyone or anybody can come support this, because at this time, we are not now concerned about how Tanzania has been sanctioned or these quarrels about this or all this. But what we are concerned about the people who have lost their life. We are only concerned about the deaths that has been experienced in this country. That's all that we are concerned. We are only concerned about the families that has been destroyed, about the people who have been locked, who have been jailed because of their voices, just because they went on the street to ask for their rights, for their justice, for their freedom. It caused problems to them. It caused damages in families. Today we have many people today, many families today, who are still mourning their loved ones just because there was someone who was fighting to secure her position. She never cared. She never bothered about the people who are losing life. This is not something that we have to close our eyes and watch over it. This is not something that we can be silent over it. So at this time, Samia has come out to respond about this. But again, at this time, I don't believe that there is not something new that this woman can come and tell the world, because we saw all that happened after. The government kept on hiding the truth. They kept on telling the lies. They kept on pretending like all is well in the country of Tanzania. They kept telling the world that the medias and the press has the full rights in that country. They keep on telling the people that the Tanzanians have freedom. But after the documentary of CNN, which was done by Larry Madowo, that's when people came to know the truth. That's when people everything came out to limelight. And now we know all that happened. Now we know the truth behind this leadership. Now we know how bad this government is. Now we know how this woman dictative she is. So at this time, we, as I said, we are only concerned about the lives that was taken, because these are the people who had the rights to go and ask for the freedom. They are the people who had their families, who had their responsibilities. These are the people who had their dreams to future. So what was the reason for them being killed? There is no reason for these people being killed. I never saw any reason that may cause the deaths of these thousands of young people. Because at this time we believe that Africa is in the hands of the youth. We believe that today the youth are the only people who can take and reform this country of Africa, this continent of Africa. Because the people whom we've been depending on are the only a group of older people who are only there to protect and cover themselves. That's why they never cared. They don't care. They want to rule their countries decades over decades without knowing that the countries does not belong to them. They were born and find these countries existing. So why doesn't they just give out or hand over to other people so that they can bring some new things, some new ideas, some new changes in their countries? This is very evil. So at this time, I don't think it's a time for entertaining all these greedy and puppet leaders, because at this time, if we as Africans, we keep on watching over them, they're going to destroy the entire continent of Africa, and we are not here to allow this to happen. So let the bodies play their own parts. ICC is there, African Union is there, UN is there, and EU is there. All of them are being watched by Africans. We want to see if they are really truly made for the people, or they were only made for them to protect among themselves. This is the Black History. I'm here to uncover the truth that has been hidden, and let me have your views in the comment section. I welcome you once again, and I appreciate your support for you being here each and every time, each and every day. We are here to do the needful. Until next time, we come with the same. Thank you very much, and be blessed wherever you are watching from.